Hi, I'm Amy Weir. I'm the current Place 5 trustee for Round Rock Independent School District and the current board secretary. There's a lot at stake on November 8th, and I want to address once again some false information that's come out about our taxes and our budget. At our September 15th board meeting, Larry Gaddess, the Williamson County Tax Assessor Collector, came to our meeting to address all of this false information.
Larry Gaddess, Williamson County Tax Office. The voter approval rate for a school district is nothing like the voter approval rates for any of the other taxing units, primarily cities, counties, ESDs, things like that. So, and the reason for that is because there is state funding tied to those dollars, right? So you don't have that with those other jurisdictions. And what happens at the school district is the state, back in 2021, determines a budget of what they're willing to spend on schools, and they have to make sure that they don't spend any more than what they budgeted 2 years ago. So they came up with a calculation that the TEA does that says these schools have to adopt these rates specifically for M&O so that we don't then have to spend money out of our pockets, the state, to make up the difference if we force the schools to go lower. So school districts maintain a higher M&O rate to get revenue from local revenue through property taxes so that we don't spend more money than we budgeted out of the state coffers. They do that by dictating what your M&O rate is going to be through the TEA calculations. I'm a numbers guy, and you asked me this question, and I didn't know that you were going to ask this question, but I did calculate. If we calculated the voter approval rate for the school district like we did everybody else, and we used 2.5%, which is what House Bill 3 dictated. There's a 2.5% cap, if you will, for school districts, but it really doesn't play out to be a 2.5% cap. If I did that on Round Rock ISD with the value increases that y'all had and the revenue that you generated last year and the debt and all the other things that come into play, your voter approval rate would be about 90 cents, less than 90 cents. So that would be your voter approval rate if the state didn't say you have to adopt 80-cent M&O rate. Your M&O tax rate would be much, much lower. Your debt rate would be the same, and your M&O tax rate would be much, much lower. And then what that would mean is that the state would have to fund the rest of that to give you the same amount of dollars, right? They don't want to do that, so they force this M&O rate on you, which ergo is forced upon the taxpayers. So it's a 90 cents, it's about 4 cents over your no new revenue rate, which if you look at that differential, 86 cents for no new revenue, about 90 cents for voter approval rate, that 3 or 4 cent differential is very comparable to what cities and the county looks like when you look at those two different rates. It's much greater. There's a much larger gap between the no new revenue rate, which is the rate that you would have to adopt to get the same amount of revenue, or same amount of revenue that you got last year, and your voter approval rate. There's a 20-cent differential there, and it's because the state forces you to adopt a much higher M&O rate.
As you can see from Larry's testimony at the board meeting, we have some of the lowest tax rates in the area, where it did go down from previous years, despite what is being said. My opponent and her slate of candidates are looking to completely slash the budget against state law, and that is going to have severe repercussions for our district. I look forward to your vote. Please vote, please get educated, and I will see you at the polls. Early voting starts the 24th of October and runs through November 4th, and then November 8th is the general election. Once again, I'm Amy Weir, Place 5, Round Rock ISD.